Good morning, everyone. In today's class, we will be discussing about Indian Railways. So, are we really saving the savior? So, the reason why I have taken up this particular topic in yesterday's newspaper, there was an article. Okay, so that article actually it's criticizing the government's move to privatize some of the routes. Okay, so criticism in the sense it's a valid criticism. Okay, so what I thought here is like, so why can't we just get a glance of Indian Railways? Okay, so we can discuss lot many points here, but I am here restricting myself to just get a comprehensive picture of Indian Railways. Okay, so with that context, so along with yesterday's article's points, I have also taken some extra basic information. Okay, so this information is also available in internet. I'm not saying that it is not available. So I just summarize the whole information for your convenience. So in that context, just pay attention on this. Just see first, I want you to see some basic information like how much is the, like suppose if you see this electrification, how many routes are electrified in the country? Because this basic information will be useful when you, what you call, 1 minute here. Let me see. Like if you want to write the introduction, this will be useful, like fourth largest. Okay, at the same time when you write about this electrification, how many routes in the country, how much percentage it got electrified? Only 58.49 percentage. Okay, so this is basic info like the number of trains, but what is important here is see the average speed. Okay, so the average speed of mail and express 50.6. So the average speed of each train, if you take, so the fastest ones, what we call the most common ones, mails and express, their average speed is just 50.6. So this particular table indicating something. So it means still the load on the track is quite high. We need to modernize the infrastructure. We need to divide freight trains, freight in the sense of goods trains. We need to provide separate route for the goods trains and separate route for the passenger trains. That's why we have these dedicated freight corridors, Eastern corridor and the Western corridors. Okay. So when the transport aspect comes, that time we discuss about that. But at least for now, try to understand this. Next come to the railway budget. Railway budget, in the year 2016, on the recommendation of this Vivek Debre committee, government stopped. So that means from 2017 onwards, we have only one general budget. Till 2016, from 1924, because this Ackworth committee gave its recommendations in the year, like what you call, in the year 1920-21. It gave its recommendation. First implemented by the British in 1924, because that time they felt because railways it's a very strategic sector, because it connects across the country even during the time of British. So they felt like as it is playing a very strategic role, not only for mobilization of goods and passengers, even for the troops. So those days. So that's why they want to have a separate budget for the railways. But after that, after independence, we continued the same. But in the recent past, like there were some questions like now we need to have some kind of change in the method. So why do we need to have a separate rail budget? So they mentioned some of the reasons also. Why do we need to what you call? Why do we need to have only one budget rather than having separate budget for railways? So they mentioned like separate transport system. We want to integrate this railway with this other, what you call inland waterways, highways. Okay. So they want to have this multimodal transport. If you want to go for this multimodal transport, then definitely you need midterm reviews. Midterm reviews means every year after 3 months, after 4 months, you'll go for the review. Okay, making. So that's why they felt like if you by merging these two. Okay, so it provides Minister of Finance. It's a kind of it can easily predict how much midterm expenditure they have to make. Okay, so at the same time, it gives the holistic picture rather than having a separate rail budget. It just provides a holistic picture. So that is also one of the reason why they have to like come for what you call this separate merging railway budget with the general budget from 2017 onwards. Okay, so this is some information about railway budget. Okay, then you can come to the next one. What are the issues right now? Railways as it one of the crucial transport sectors in the country. So what are the challenges it is facing right now? The roadblocks. So that's why I mentioned here them as roadblocks. So what are the roadblocks? Okay. See, the first and foremost thing, even till date, even after independence, even if till date, if you see, okay, the area where the railways are still like facing challenges is this passenger tariff. Passenger tariff in India is one of the lowest in the world. Okay, so we thought like because it is for rich, for poor, everybody. So across the country, only via the rail network we can move. Okay, because it's the only cheapest network. Neither the aviation nor the road transport are that much cheaper comparing with the rail network. So that's why it's a lifeline for the country, for the transport system. So that's the reason we maintain the same status quo when it comes to the passenger tariffs. We are not even daring to increase. So with that reason, most of the occasions, they have to go for this cross subsidy. Cross subsidy means whatever amount they're getting from the freight, because railways operates on two things. On one side, it operates the goods, on the other side, passengers. So whatever amount they're getting from the goods, okay, that amount they're compensating even for the passenger trains. Okay, because they're not getting much passenger tariffs. The passenger tariffs are very low. Okay, so with that reason, now one of the roadblocks what we call for these railways is that these subsidized passenger tariffs. You can also see here, suppose for example, the next one is reducing freight demand, as I told you. One side cross subsidy is a challenge. Second thing, right now what is exactly happening? Road transport is quite on demand compared with rail transport. More than half of the transport right now is on the road. If you take the case of China, it is only just 30%. If you take the case of India, more than 50% of the transport is under control of the road. Next is railways. Next is shipping and all other. Around 55-56% is under control of roads. Around 36% is under control of railways. So most of the freight, it is actually getting shifted to the road. Okay. So now you just understand. On one side, they have to go for this cross subsidy. But in the freight itself, if they're reducing the revenue, that is creating further challenge to them. This is the second challenge. But third is this is the most important one. See the way our environmental policies also impacts the revenue of the railways. So most of the freight revenue for the railways coming actually from the coal. For the railway sector, most of the revenue is actually coming from the coal. See, I even mentioned the number here, 2/3. But right now, under these green energy initiatives, what we are doing here, we are reducing the usage of the coal. When you reduce the usage of the coal, okay, then obviously its freight cost also will be reduced. It indirectly impact the railways. So this is what is happening here. So the green energy initiatives also creating the revenue challenges to railways. That's why they need to alter. The railways also now what they have to do if they want to survive in the market, they also need to alter their strategies. Okay. Next is still continuation. Another thing is, if you see here, UDAN, Ude Desh Ka Aam Nagarik, the full form of UDAN, Ude Desh Ka Aam Nagarik, started by the Modi government for this regional connectivity, for the regional promotion of aviation sector. So they came up with this scheme. So what is the very purpose of this? So at the regional level, government will subsidize to some extent to the these airline carriers. They will strengthen the aviation sector. So who are the most people who will go for this regional connectivity? Those who are in the one tier and two tier. So rather than paying a one tier cost to the railways, I can pay the same amount to the aeroplane. So within less time, I can reach. So this competition from the railways, this competition from the airways, it is also denting the revenue of railways. Aviation sector denting the revenue of the railways. So this is one challenge the railways are facing right now. Along with that, rail safety. Just few 2 months back, 1 or 2 months back, we have seen when the migrant workers in here in Aurangabad, when they were laying down on the rail track, one goods trail completely rammed them. 12 of them died. That happened recently. Okay. So before that, we have in India we have a case of railway accidents. Okay, railway safety issues. Most of this is this derailments and this head-on collision. Head-on collision is directly coming and colliding with each other. Okay. So in Kachigoda railway station, just a month last year, I think we have seen this collision with the MMTS with the local with another train. Okay. So rail safety is a major issue for us right now. So along with this bureaucracy, slow down. Okay. They will slow down the decision making. Slow down the decision making. Okay. So this is for the delaying the decisions. So that is common in almost all the government sectors. Along with that, so most of the amount what we are investing in railways, mostly going in the form of salaries. Salaries and wages. Okay. But if you want to modernize the infrastructure, we are lacking the investment. Take the case of China. Annually, China is investing 9 to 10 lakh crore. Whereas in the case of India, we are able to invest hardly 40,000 crore. Okay. So this is another challenge for us. So for this to overcome, we have some important committees to overcome these challenges. So way back in 1994, we have this committee called as Prakash Tandon Committee. Okay. The second one is Anil Kakodkar. The third one is Vivek Debroy. So first, let us try to understand the major recommendations of these committees. Okay. Later, you can incorporate these into your answers. Then we will discuss the recent issues. So if you see the Prakash Tandon Committee, it actually paid attention on this what you call this railway service. So as of now, if you take the case of railways is actually having two types of services. One is railway services. One is technical. Second one is non-technical. Okay. So technical, we have this examination called as IES, Indian Engineering Service. This also will be conducted by UPSC. For the non-technical, that for the top levels, we have the civils. Okay. For the technical, we have the Indian Engineering Service, and for the non-technical, we have these civil services. So like that, the recruitment happens. Okay. But it wants, right now, if you see the top level positions like this GM, sorry, general manager. So this general manager position will be actually mostly the technical people will occupy. Sometimes the bureaucrats also will come. Later I will discuss recently what the government want the changes and how these people are reacting. But here I'm just giving the example. So this Prakash Tandon committee recommended single service. Okay. Then comes Anil Kakodkar committee. This Anil Kakodkar committee is actually on the railway safety. Okay, during the time of UPI, this particular committee actually comes. Okay. So this Anil Kakotkar committee, so it actually speaks about railway safety. So it's actually, it demands the creation of this, sorry, 1 minute. One minute, yeah. So this rail safety authority, creation of this rail safety authority. So it wants a separate regulator to deal with the safety or safety of this railway sector, like this derailments, head-on-head collisions, like what kind of compensation should be provided. Okay, how we should tackle the what you call these derailment issues. For all this purpose, we need to have a separate regulator. So this is what is being recommended by the Anil Kakotkar committee. So along with that, this is the major challenge, this manned and unmanned level crossings. Because it is at the unmanned level crossings, we will see the maximum number of these railway accidents. So along these unmanned level crossings. Okay. So along with that, it also wants this system, the signaling systems. So it wanted to follow this European method, like this, how these European countries, they're following the signal tracking systems. So in India also, it wants to follow the same. Okay. Next is it also wants monitoring of the bridges, because there sometimes if the derailment happens, there used to be heavy damage. So these are some of the recommendations of Anil Kakotkar committee. Then comes the recent one, the 2015 committee, the 2015 one. This is the Vivek Debray committee. Right now, he is also playing a key role in the Prime Minister's Economic Advisory Council. Okay, he's the head of it, Vivek Debray. So he recommends most of his recommendations are actually being implemented by the government. If you practically observe, that's why I have to discuss all this. So one is merging of this railway budget with general budget proposed in 2015. Government took the decision in 2016. From 2017 onwards, no railway budget. Government started discussing that in the September 2016. It took the decision. 17 onwards, only general budget from 2017 onwards. Okay. Second one, it is actually, it recommended this railway regulatory authority. The reason why it wants this railway regulatory authority is it will fix the fares. Okay. The fares will be fixed by this railway regulatory authority. Okay. So this is what the second recommendation. This is the third recommendation. This is actually right now creating challenges. This to some extent right now creating challenges, especially for the civil servants. It also wants this private participation. See, on this basis, yesterday the article came on this recommendation, encouraging private participation. But do not confuse here. Encouraging private participation does not mean privatization of railways. Remember this point. Here, according to this committee also, here, 1 minute. I'm changing the color here. See, according to this committee, even encouraging private participation means allowing the private players to come and invest, especially in the rolling stock. You know what is the rolling stock of railways? So rolling stock means these bogies, these trains, coaches. Okay. So it want like, suppose if you take the case of road transport, in road transport, we have the government buses and we have the private buses. Both government and private buses will go on the same, what you call, the same road will be used. Okay. But they will pay the taxes. Because they're using the route, they're using the road, that's why they will pay the road tax. In a similar way, now for certain routes, they need to be private operators. That means those railway stations and those routes, we will hand over to the private players. Okay. So they will fix their fares. At the same time, they have to pay money to the government. At the same time, all the offices will be of the government. Only the routes will be maintained by the private players. Remember, the routes and the fare will be maintained by the private player and the normal maintenance, but for all the support will be given by the government. So this is what is the recent initiative that the government decided. So this one also, this private participation also started, the government started being implementing. So along with that, it also wants this accounting reforms. Right now, for you people, it's not required. There are there will be two type of accounts, and the cash account and accrual account. So right now, the railway ministry is actually using the cash account. So they want accrual account. So accrual is more accountable comparing with cash account, because those who knows this accounting, they will know there's a concept called as double entry. In accrual account, there will be double entry, so it is more accountable comparing with cash account. So that you don't need to touch upon if you are not having any idea on it. Just try to understand that it wants to like reform the accounting system also, it recommended. So this is another one. This is about Vivek the Prayer Committee. Next, come to the recent initiatives taken up by the government. So this is with respect to this service. If you see here, see this aspect. The first one, All India Indian Railway Management Service. 1 minute. Indian Railway Management Service. Okay. So as of now, we have this 8 Group A services. In that, 5 Group A services are with, as I told you, we have 2 types here: technical, non-technical. Okay. So this railway services, 2 types. This technical, I told you, comes from IAS. Non-technical comes from civils. Okay. So both actually will be done by the UPSC. So IAS, the topmost positions are 5. That the top 5 categories of services, and civils, we have 3 categories of services. So right now, recently government merged all these 5 and 5 plus 8. Now we have only one services, what we call that as IRMS, Indian Railway Management Service. Okay, so there will be separate recruitment examination for this IRMS, will be again conducted by UPSC. Remember this. Examination will be conducted by UPSC. Under this, again, there will be 2 posts, technical and non-technical. Okay. So according to your qualification, you will appear either for a technical or non-technical. So those who are preparing for only civil, they can appear only in the non-technical. If you have the technical background, then you can also appeal for technical one. Okay. So via these 2, there will be only one service, that is called as IRMS. Okay. The reason why government wants to create this IRMS is, as you can see here, you see, this is the reason. This is the reason the government mentioned here. End of departmentalism. Now we have technical people come from IES, generalist people will go via the civils. So there will be differences between these 2. Like we are superiors. I know more, I have more knowledge, I have more knowledge. So this actually led to the departmentalism, dividing, divisions. Your department is, I don't have anything with your department, you have anything with my department. So if you have this separation, it is ultimately affecting the Ministry of Railways. So with this intention, the current government actually came up with this integrating all the services into Indian Railway Management Service. Okay. It mentioned the reason like for the smooth working of railways, for effective decision making, for coherent vision, for rational decision making. Okay. So these are the 5 reasons mentioned by the government for the creation of IRMS, Indian Railway Management Service. But there are, especially from the civil services background, people who are arguing that it actually creates more challenges to the civils, the one who are going via civils, than via the this technical exam. Because most of the candidates who cleared the technical exam at the age of 22 to between 23. 21 to 23. Whereas in the case of civil, the average age itself is 26.7, around 27 years. So now if you say like, to crack this non-technical examination, it is taking 27 years. To crack the technical examination, it is taking 21 to 23 years. So who will be having better chances in promotion? The technical guys. Okay. Now if you create the same service as a single service as IRMS, and there you say that there is no difference between technical and non-technical. So the non-technical one, as well as the civils one, they will face the challenges. So this is the upcoming challenge for the civil servants, especially in this railway service. Those who could not able to get the IAS and those who want to opt for the other services, this is the challenge. Okay. So along with this challenge, we have other challenges like as seniority wise, the technical people will be on high hold. Okay. So they may have a more control comparing with the bureaucrats. Actually, it should be balanced both. We need both technical and generalists. Actually, it is the people who preparing for civil services, they will be having a broad understanding on policy comparing with the technical persons. Technical persons will always go with the method of this efficiency. How much input, how much output. They will not go for the social behaviors. They will not go much about the social behavior. This is what is the criticism. Okay. But on the contrary, what people are saying, those who are good at because we need the skilled persons. So this railways needs more skilled persons. Who is good at the skills? So they should be recruited. So that's what is the present government saying. So how the issues will be unfolded. So we have to wait and see with the coming of the next examination. Okay. So that is about the recent change the government made with respect to this integration of these 8 services. So this is what the government mentioned. What will happen? There will be Indian Railway Management Service, IRMS. At the same time, there will be like a change of the structure. We have right now around 9 members who are part of this railway board. Now they want to reduce that to 5 members. Okay. So railway board now will be having CEO. CEO means CEO will be having more autonomy. See, the same chairman will become the CEO. Now you can ask the difference. It's like the same. What's the difference? Same governor general will be called as viceroy. But what's the difference? Their viceroy used to be the appointee of the queen. In the similar way here, CEO, the same manager, the same chairman of the board, the railway chairman, he will be the CEO. But CEO means CEO will be having more autonomy. Okay. More autonomous powers CEOs will be having. That's why the word CEO is mostly in the corporate style. So now the chairman will also be called a CEO, Chief Executive Officer. So at the same time, only 4 functional members will be there. They reduce the number of members of the board also. Previously, there used to be, 9 members. 9 equal to 8 plus 1. 1 member, state person, 8 members from 8 services. I told you the 8 services, right? I will be showing you the services now. So total 9 members, the 9 got reduced to 4. See here, the 4 members. Changes, the restructuring of the Indian Railways. Restructuring, especially at the top level. This is what we are seeing. Next comes to, these are the options. This is the present situation. If you see, presently we have 3 services. These 3 are from civil services. These 5 are from the IES. See, this engineering service examination. This is civil service. Okay. Personnel, accounts, traffic. Okay. So these are 3. This is civils, science, SNT, electric, mechanical, stores. These are the technical. Okay. So Bibek Debroy Committee recommended the first option. This is the Bibek Debroy Committee recommendations. So Bibek Debroy want 1 logistics service and 1 technical service. Logistics service will be with the the civils, and the technical service will be with the like the technical persons, like what we discussed, the engineering side. But right now, this is the option the government is preferring. Only one railway service, IRMS, Indian Railway Management Service. So how things will unroll, we have to wait and see with respect to this. Okay. Then come to the next one. This is the recent. That's in the test newspaper what they mentioned. Privatization of roads. So what are this privatization of roads? So what the government will get out of it? So this is what they mentioned in see, these points, what they mentioned in that yesterday's newspaper, these are very important points. They mentioned in the newspaper, I have taken. So the very purpose of this is to introduce modern technology in the rolling stock. You know the rolling stock I told you. Rolling stock means the locomotives, coaches, okay, locomotives. So these are all they are part of the rolling. Rolling means moving. Moving stock. Moving stock means mostly coaches and the rail engines and all this. So we need to modernize. Suppose, for example, even till date we are using the ICF, integrated coach factory. Okay, but we have to. They are highly prone to the derailments. If any derailment happens, the damage will be more in the ICF coaches. Okay, but there are what you call the countries like Japan. They are going for the German coaches. Okay, so these German coaches. The one that Japan is using right now, they are highly safe. So, but they're costly. So, if you want to move, you need investment. So, further, if you allow private players, they will come with this investment. So, this is the first one. The first reform has to come in this. Second one is reducing the transit time. So, as I told you, so we have this. Suppose, for example, we have this train called as what you call Rajdhani Express. So when they came up with the Rajdhani Express, the very purpose of Rajdhani Express is between two capitals. Between two capitals means between New Delhi and the state capital, the time should be 24 hours. Within 24 hours from New Delhi, you should reach to any state's capital. That's why they name that as Rajdhani. But like Rajdhani, how many trains we have? The average speed is 40 to 45 kilometers. So that's why train traveling till date is very long. So now what we have to do? We have to reduce this time. This is the second, reducing the transit time. So third one is it has to boost the job creation. Okay. So if you allow the private players, more number of jobs will be created. Okay. So next one is safety. We can get more new technologies. So through that, if you get more investment, you can close many unmanned level crossings. You can also take the help of technology. So you can provide safety, you can enhance the safety of the passenger and of the railway sector itself. So we are right now to provide this a world-class experience. So suppose we have these trains like Tejas. Okay, so they provide very good ambience. Once you enter inside the train, you will get Wi-Fi, you will get the audio, you will get the music system, you will get air-conditioned rooms. So we also want to modernize this infrastructure. Right now, this air-conditioned trains means mostly we used to see in the metros. That too for a very limited area. If it comes to the trains, it can further strengthen our experience. Okay. Next is this demand supply deficit. Still some areas, still they're not able to get access because of the busy routes. Still some passengers, they want to use the rail routes, but they could not able to. So we have to widen the rail network. Say post independence in India, we were able to lay it down just only 10,000 kilometers. So that means 50,000 kilometers were already laid during the time of British. How many kilometers extra we laid down the railway track? Only 10,000 kilometers. Okay. But if you take the case of China, it is more than that. Okay. So China's railway network is highly strong. Now they are one of the lead players when it comes to the railway sector. Chinese. Okay. So in all these dimensions, it can be modern technology in the rolling stock or transit time, job creation, safety, travel experience, reducing the demand supply deficit. These all are the dimensions. In each and every dimension, you should get the points. You need to understand. So here I have taken the dimension, one or few dimensions, but think with time, we will also take up the other topics. Okay. So individual mention some of the challenges of this privatization, because if you privatize, who will take care of the safety of these workers? Because railway workers are from the railways, from the government side. If the private players comes, if there is any unfortunate situation happens, who will take the responsibility? Question. Next, now they want to increase the speed limit up to 160 kilometers. In the present trunk route, the highest it can go up to 110. If you want to go up to 160, you should think of the bridges. You should think of the track strength. Because suppose if you see, for longer, if you take the case of bullet trains need a separate alternate route. Why? Their tracks, for that speed, you need to have a different track system. So like that, if you want to increase the track, if you want to increase the speed limit up to 160, but if the track strength is not up to, then it may leads to safety issues. Definitely leads to safety issues. Okay. So to what extent this can be stopped? That is, we have to see. Next is passenger fare. Private route means definitely high passenger fares. Higher passenger fares. If the passenger fares are higher, then it ultimately affects the consumers, because it's not like roads. Railways is for the lifeline. It's for the whole country. So if you privatize too much, if you privatize too much, if you even allow for these private players to even fix the fares, then tomorrow it may pose challenges. This is what one opinion. Okay, so that's why they want. That's why this Vivek Debray committee wants this regulator. This regulator will fix the prices. Okay, so at the same time we have this reservation issue. If you want to go into if you privatize more, then the government jobs will be reduced. Then the reservation will be affected. So these are some of the challenges he mentioned. But irrespective of these challenges, but if you are able to effectively utilize the private investment, if you effectively tackle the private players, in some of the routes, at least you can operate. We can allow the private players to operate. But if you take the case of, suppose, for example, take the case of Tamil Nadu. Tamil Nadu, we have these government buses and the private buses. Both are operating, but they're operating well. But there are some issues. Definitely there are issues, because private operators always chooses all the low-hanging fruits, because they do not want to take the risk. They will not go to Northeast, but they will operate in Delhi. They will operate in Mumbai, because there the demand is there. Okay, at least there let them operate. Let the other places the government pay attention on. So this is also an option we can think of. In when you read public administration, there's a theory, this new public management. Right now, the present government is following new public management practices. Okay. Some of them, they want to follow the new public administration practices. So those who do not have public administration till late, you will understand this later. But this I'm just trying to say. I want to give an additional information, how to link this with your subject. So finally, what are the recent government initiatives? So this Diamond Quadrilateral along with the Golden Quadrilateral. So we have this Eastern Corridor and the Western Corridor, dedicated freight corridors, what we call them as DFC, Dedicated Freight Corridor, dedicated freight corridor. Okay. Government also planning to invest around 8.7 lakh crore. This Mission 41K, these all are self-explanatory points. This Mission 41K, it wants to save some 40,000, 41,000 crore by giving a push for energy efficient solutions. It's a kind of green energy push. Next, this Mission Raftar to improve transportation. Like I told you, this Uday, Humsafar, these all are recently launched trains. Okay. So it took the Raftar mission. It wants to increase the transportation, the speed of the transportation. Recently, we have seen this Vande Mataram Express, Shramik Express, Vande Mataram Express, Shramik. Okay. And we have this, as of now, the electrification is only 58%. Okay. We want to completely electrify by 2020 to 24. Okay, net zero railway. Net zero means the carbon emissions coming from railway should be zero. This is what is the target because 2030 sustainable development goals. So in line sustainable development goals, railways also going for this net zero emissions. But let us see whether it will be able to fulfill or not. Finally, we are even allowing the private companies even to manage the railway stations. Let them come, let them modernize the railway station and let them operate. Okay. So this is also we are trying so that let the private investment come because 8.7 lakh means from where it should come from. Government cannot borrow all the money, right? It should allow the private players to come and operate. So finally, what should be the way forward? So way forward means you will write the same what challenges to that, you will write the conclusion. In simple, safety, we need to have a safety regulation. You need to have come up with the new tracks. Technologies need to be incorporated. As I told you this right now, we are going for this ICF, Integrated Coach Factory. We have to shift to the LHB, Link Hoffman Bush. So this is the most safest one comparing with the ICF. So, but the cost is a bit high, but at least if you try slowly from now onwards by getting investment, so that will be good. Then we have these bio toilets so that we can clean, we can maintain this Swachh Bharat, and we have awareness. We have this railway insurance, but how many of them are getting availing the benefit? So we have to create awareness about this railway insurance because when you purchase the ticket, so by default you will get the insurance, but how many of them are using that appropriately? So whenever there is any derailment thing happens, are we effectively using it or not? So we should create awareness on it. So these all about what you call Indian Railways in one glance and some of the issues. So still there are a lot many things with respect to railways we can discuss, but it is in crisp. What exactly Indian Railways and what are the challenges and what are the recent issues and what should be the way forward. So with that note, I am ending today's session. Thank you.